You know what truly destroys you? It's not the stranger who dismisses you. It's not the acquaintance who forgets your name. The deepest scars don't come from those who never knew you, they come from the one person who knew everything. Every fear, every dream, every quiet hope you kept hidden from the world. They didn't just know your story. They lived inside it. They saw you on your worst days and promised to stay. They heard your voice shake when you talked about old wounds and swore they'd never add to them. They became the person you stopped protecting yourself from. That's what makes this different. That's what makes this cut so deep it doesn't heal like normal heartbreak. Because when a stranger hurts you, you can dismiss it. Bad timing. Wrong person. Incompatibility. Your mind finds explanations that let you move forward without questioning everything you believe about love. But when someone who truly knew you, someone who saw your soul and claimed to cherish it, when they turn that knowledge into a weapon, that doesn't just hurt. That rewrites your understanding of reality. You gave them your time. Not the spare minutes left over from a busy life, but the sacred hours you carved out intentionally. The late-night conversations. The morning texts before your eyes fully opened. The space in your schedule that used to belong to you alone. You gave them your patience. The kind that doesn't come naturally to anyone. The kind you had to build consciously, brick by brick, choosing understanding over reaction, choosing grace over grudges, choosing to see their potential instead of just their behavior. You gave them your loyalty. Unwavering. Unquestioned. The kind of commitment that made other people seem invisible. The kind that had you defending them when others saw red flags you refused to acknowledge. The kind that kept you anchored even when every instinct screamed to drift away. You gave them your belief. That quiet, powerful faith that love could heal whatever darkness lived inside them. That your presence could be the light they needed. That patience and devotion could soften the sharp edges of their pain. And they took all of it. Absorbed every piece of you like it was their right. Like your love was a resource to be mined, not a gift to be treasured. Then came the distance. The coldness that arrived without explanation. The silence that felt deliberate, calculated, almost cruel. Not the comfortable quiet of two people at peace, but the weaponized quiet of someone withholding what they know you need. And suddenly you're left standing in the wreckage, asking a question that has no good answer. A question that keeps you awake when exhaustion should have claimed you hours ago. A question that follows you through your days like a shadow you can't outrun. Oh, how could someone who received everything, your time, your patience, your loyalty, your unshakable belief, how could they hurt you as if it all meant nothing? As if you were disposable. As if love was just a game they were always going to win and you were always going to lose. That question doesn't just ask about them. It asks about you. About your judgment. About whether you can ever trust yourself to see clearly again. Remember the beginning? Remember how different everything felt? There was no hesitation. No awkward silences. No slow building of trust over months and years. Instead, there was electricity, instant, overwhelming, impossible to ignore. You didn't just meet someone. You felt found. Like every relationship before this one was practice. Like everything you went through was preparing you for this exact moment. This exact person. They didn't just listen to you. They understood you. Without lengthy explanations. Without having to convince them of your worth. They saw you immediately. Completely. As if they'd been searching for someone exactly like you their whole life. And that feeling of being truly seen, it's intoxicating. It's addictive. It's the thing human beings spend their entire lives chasing without even knowing it. We don't just want love. We want significance. We want to matter profoundly in someone else's universe. We want to be chosen deliberately, not just accepted reluctantly. And they gave you that. Fully. Overwhelmingly. Without you even having to ask. Every word they spoke felt intentional. Every compliment landed exactly where you needed it most. Every observation about your character felt like they had studied you for years, not days. They mirrored your dreams back to you. Spoke about the future like it was already decided. Made plans that stretched years ahead when you'd only known them weeks. Everything moved fast. But fast didn't feel dangerous. Fast felt like destiny finally arriving after making you wait so long. Normal relationships build slowly. Trust earns itself through time and consistency. Walls come down brick by brick as safety proves itself real. But this bypassed all those natural protections. This felt so right that caution seemed unnecessary. Doubt felt like betrayal of something sacred. So you didn't question. You didn't slow down. You didn't listen to that tiny whisper suggesting this might be too perfect, too easy, too good to be true. Because excitement drowns out caution every single time. Hope speaks louder than experience. The heart believes what it desperately wants to believe. You shared more than you normally would. Trusted faster than wisdom allows. Committed deeper than the timeline justified. Not because you were foolish. Because the experience felt meaningful in a way nothing else ever had. And meaning is intoxicating. Meaning convinces us that patterns won't repeat. That this time is genuinely different. That the past has no power here. But underneath this beautiful beginning, something else was already forming. Something you couldn't see because you weren't looking for it. Something subtle and dangerous and patient. One person was slowly becoming the center of everything. The other was slowly beginning to orbit. And that orbit felt like devotion. It felt like proof the connection was real. Giving feels natural when you love someone. That's not where things went wrong. You wanted to lighten their load. You wanted to be their safe harbor. You wanted to show up consistently when life got heavy and complicated. That's what love does. That's what love asks of us. In healthy relationships, this flows both directions. One person gives, the other receives, then the roles reverse naturally. Effort meets effort. Care meets care. Two people building something together, sharing the weight equally. But something shifted in your relationship. So gradually you missed it completely. So gently you mistook it for normal. You started making excuses for behavior that left you feeling empty. They're under pressure at work. They had a difficult childhood. They don't process emotions the way I do. They need more time to open up fully. Compassion is beautiful. Understanding is necessary. But compassion without boundaries becomes something else entirely. It becomes self-destruction wearing a mask of love. You began giving more than you had. Extending patience you didn't feel. Offering forgiveness the situation didn't deserve. Absorbing blame that didn't belong to you. Nobody demanded this with words. Nobody issued ultimatums or gave direct commands. But you sensed something deep in your bones. You understood without being told. Pulling back might mean losing them completely. So you tried harder. Stayed calmer when chaos surrounded you. Apologized for wounds you didn't inflict. Made yourself smaller so conflict wouldn't find room to grow. Your needs started feeling like inconveniences. Your desires became negotiations you rarely won. Your voice got quieter while theirs filled every space. From outside, people saw devotion, commitment, someone willing to go the extra mile for love. But inside, something fundamental was shifting beneath your feet. Your happiness became dependent on their current mood. Your peace required their ongoing approval. Your sense of worth rose and fell based on whether they chose you today or pushed you away. This is the cruelest part of the whole experience. It didn't feel like losing yourself. It felt like loving correctly. Like sacrificing appropriately. Like doing what real relationships demand. Because when you genuinely care, you don't keep score. You don't track what you've given. You only hold on to hope that things will balance eventually. Hope that the person you first met will return permanently. Hope that your patience will finally receive recognition. Hope that tomorrow will feel different than today. So you kept giving. Even when exhaustion lived in your bones. Even when confusion clouded every thought. Even when something inside you asked why love suddenly felt like a job you could never quit. You silenced that voice. Because listening meant facing something terrifying. The possibility that giving more would never be enough for someone incapable of receiving. Control doesn't always announce itself with raised voices. It doesn't arrive wearing obvious threats or making clear demands. Sometimes it shows up quietly, almost politely, disguised as something else entirely. It arrives as a mood that shifts without warning. A silence that feels heavier than any argument. An atmosphere that makes you tread carefully through conversations that should feel safe. At first, you don't recognize it as control. You call it sensitivity. You tell yourself they feel things more deeply than most people. They process differently. They need more understanding than the average person requires. So you adapt. You become cautious with your tone. You preview your words before speaking them. You avoid subjects that might trigger distance or tension. Nobody told you to do this. Nobody sat you down and outlined the rules. But you learn them anyway. Through repetition. Through subtle punishments you couldn't quite name. Through the cold withdrawal that followed moments when you didn't manage their emotions carefully enough. You discovered that peace in the relationship depended on your silence. Harmony required your constant adjustment. Love continued flowing only when you regulated the emotional temperature better than they ever could. This is how control embeds itself invisibly. The relationship still has good moments. There's still laughter sometimes. Still flashes of warmth that feel genuine enough to justify everything else. But between those bright moments, confusion multiplies and spreads. Questions start forming that you're afraid to speak aloud. You begin doubting your own emotional responses. Am I overreacting again? Am I asking for too much? Am I too complicated to love the way normal people get loved? When criticism gets delivered softly enough, consistently enough, wrapped in concern rather than anger, your mind stops fighting it. Your mind starts accepting it as objective truth. And once self-doubt takes root, external control becomes completely unnecessary. You've internalized the entire system. You've become your own jailer. You manage your emotions before they can be rejected. You minimize your needs before they can create disappointment. You edit your personality to fit the limited space they're willing to provide. All while genuinely believing this is what mature love requires. That relationships are supposed to feel this careful, this measured, this exhausting. But here's what nobody tells you until it's too late. Real love doesn't ask you to disappear gradually. Love doesn't grow stronger when one voice dominates while another fades to nothing. Love doesn't feel like walking through your own home afraid of stepping on landmines. Yet when emotional manipulation operates subtly enough, the boundary between love and captivity dissolves completely. You can't see where one ends and the other begins. The most dangerous transformation isn't the control itself. It's the moment you stop questioning whether this is healthy. When confusion becomes your baseline normal. When pain becomes so familiar it almost feels comfortable. You stop asking if the relationship is good for you. You only ask how to prevent them from leaving. And in that shift, in that single question, everything essential has already been lost. There's a moment that shatters everything. Not a dramatic explosion. Not a screaming match that ends with doors slamming. Just a quiet realization that arrives uninvited and refuses to leave. You're hurting. Genuinely, visibly, undeniably hurting. The pain is written across your face. It lives in your voice. It's impossible to miss if someone is actually looking. And they see it. They're standing right there watching you break. But nothing in them moves toward you. No warmth reaches across the distance. No curiosity about what you're experiencing. No genuine attempt to understand the wound they participated in creating. Just emptiness. Or worse, a calculated calmness that feels more like indifference than self-control. This moment breaks something fundamental in how you see the relationship. Because everything else could be explained away somehow. Rationalized. Justified. Forgiven. Mood swings happen to everyone. Stress makes people behave badly. Communication issues can be worked through. These are normal relationship challenges. But the complete absence of empathy? That's different. That's something your heart can't explain away no matter how hard it tries. You start feeling something you never imagined possible. Profound loneliness while standing directly beside the person who claims to love you. Not the loneliness of an empty room. The loneliness of being emotionally invisible to someone who sees you every day. That particular brand of loneliness whispers a truth you've been running from. You've poured everything into someone fundamentally incapable of feeling your pain. And this brings you face to face with the question that's been haunting your sleepless nights. Why you? Why would they hurt the person who stayed longest? Who forgave most? Who loved deepest and asked for so little in return? The answer has nothing to do with your worth. Everything to do with their emptiness. Narcissistic personalities don't select partners based on who's easiest to love. They choose based on who will love without conditions. Without limits. Without eventual exhaustion. Because unconditional love feels like power to someone terrified of their own internal void. Your devotion wasn't treasured. It was consumed like fuel. At first it felt intoxicating to them. Special. Powerful even. But over time your consistent love lost its shine. It became expected. Ordinary. Background noise they stopped hearing. When someone lacks genuine empathy, familiar affection becomes worthless. Invisible. So they seek new sources of validation. Fresh admiration from people who don't know them yet. New emotional mirrors to reflect back the significance they cannot generate from within. Not because you failed somehow. Not because you weren't enough. But because nothing ever fills someone who feels fundamentally empty inside. This is the tragedy of loving a narcissistic heart. The more authentic your love becomes, the less value it holds for them. Real love exposes their inability to reciprocate it. And instead of growing to meet you, they resent you for revealing what they lack. The deepest truth cuts like broken glass. They didn't hurt you because you were weak or foolish or too much. They hurt you because you loved with a depth they could never match. Your capacity for genuine connection exposed their incapacity. And they punished you for holding up that mirror. Leaving should be simple when love transforms into suffering. Logic says walk away from what hurts you. But logic has never understood the human heart. What keeps you isn't just the person standing in front of you. It's the ghost of who they seem to be. The memory of those first weeks when everything felt magical and destined and absolutely right. Your mind loops endlessly, trying to reconcile two completely different people. The one who made you feel chosen beyond measure. And the one who makes you feel like you're begging for scraps of basic human decency. Maybe they're just wounded right now. Maybe something triggered old trauma. Maybe if I adjust my approach, speak more gently, need less obviously, the warmth will flood back in. This is the trap. Not built with chains but with hope mixed into pain. Just enough possibility to keep you frozen in place. Psychologists have a term for this: trauma bonding. Unpredictable moments of kindness scattered between stretches of emotional harm. Just enough sunlight to keep you waiting through the endless dark. And while you wait, everything shrinks. Your world becomes smaller. Your voice becomes quieter. Your entire identity reorganizes itself around one impossible mission: saving a love that's already gone. The more you've sacrificed, the harder walking away becomes. Because leaving means accepting something your heart has fought desperately to deny. That the love you believed in never existed the way you experienced it. So you stay. Not from weakness. But because your heart is protecting the meaning of everything you poured into this connection. But every illusion eventually meets its breaking point. A sentence that cuts through every excuse you've been making. A silence that communicates more than words ever could. A truth that arrives without asking permission and plants itself firmly in your awareness. Suddenly what felt endlessly confusing becomes painfully, brutally clear. You see the pattern you've been living inside. The control you normalized. The empathy that was never really there. The ways you erased yourself trying to earn love that was never genuinely offered. The question transforms. Not how do I fix this? But something quieter, something that changes everything. Why am I still here? This is the breaking point. Not of the relationship. Of the illusion that's been keeping you captive. And strangely, inside that shattering, something new begins forming. Not happiness yet. Not relief. But clarity. Sharp and painful at first, then slowly softening into something resembling peace. If these words are reaching something real inside you, if this understanding feels like the truth you've been searching for, then consider subscribing. This space exists for people ready to face hard realities with courage. For hearts that choose healing over comfortable lies. You start understanding what you should have known from the beginning. Love shouldn't require self-erasure. Loyalty shouldn't demand your silence. Staying shouldn't cost you your fundamental peace.